I'm thinking of my house here, and my wife's going to call me out for this, the handrailing going down into our basement. A couple of screws started pulling out from the wall. I'm going, yeah, I have to fix it. I have to make that right. Well, over the last year, I haven't gone to it. Mm-hmm. And now the railing at the top is disconnected from the wall, and the second one's starting to come out, and it's absolutely now something I have to deal with. I know this stuff. I recognize this stuff, and I still do it in my own home.
Here once again with Jamie from Donaldson Home Services. I love the fact that you touched earlier on small things, on little things. And one of my favorite quotes is, the little things are infinitely the most important. And I think that goes as a homeowner, I think that goes as a business owner, and I think if you look after those little things, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but the little things you look after today give you peace of mind tomorrow.
As a homeowner, when you purchase your home, people make the assumption that, the big purchase is the purchase. That's the expense that you have to worry about. And at the end of the day, it's important that you recognize that it does continue. There is an expense that comes with it. And generally speaking, it's about 2% of the purchase price of the home. So if you can budget into an annual basis at 2% of the cost of the home is going to be needed for repair and upkeep. And it's not just furnaces and air conditioners, that's roofing, that's foundation, that's everything. But generally speaking, if you can budget for 2%, then it becomes a lot easier to handle these issues as they come up. That's
an incredible point. I've never heard it explained that way before. And it makes so much more sense. But you protect your investments. You continue to invest in your RSPs or whatever else. No. We often think, okay, I've spent X, Y, Z on the home. Hands off.
The number of people that will live in a house for 15 years, 10 years, 8 years, and they decide, nope, I'm done with this house. I want nothing else to do with this house. What do they always do right before they sell?
Oh, man, put a fresh coat of paint on it, redo the bathroom.
You got it. They upgrade everything.
Yeah.
They fix it all up so that the next person buying it gets to take advantage and own that stuff. Why do we wait until we're leaving to care for the home? And that's always been a question of mine. And again, coming from a family that renovated and flipped homes as I was growing up, we walk into some homes that were in pretty bad shape. We'd take some time to care for the home, to show it appreciation for what it is, to fix it up, to bring it to where it really should be, so that we can then share it with somebody else. But in the back of the mind, you're always recognizing that, yes, some people are going to take it and care for it and move forward, but there's always a certain portion that day that they get it, that's where that home sits.
Yeah. Right?
It's frozen in time in that point. And we live there and we see little things deteriorate. And I'm thinking of my house here, and my wife's going to call me out for this. We moved in and the house was in great shape. We moved in about 2 years ago. Well, about a year ago, the handrailing going down into our basement, a couple of screws started pulling out from the wall. I'm going, yeah, I gotta care for that. I have to fix it. I have to make that right. Well, over the last year, it's a big job. It doesn't sound like a big job, it really is. I haven't gone to it. And what's happened? It's slowly continued to deteriorate. Mm-hmm. And now the railing at the top is disconnected from the wall, and the second one's starting to come out, and it's absolutely now something I have to deal with. But instead of me spending a little bit at the front to deal with it, it's now going to be I got to open up drywall, put framing in, re-drywall. I got to paint the whole main floor, paint the whole second floor, right? I know this stuff. I recognize this stuff, and I still do it in my own home. So this isn't I don't want to come across like I'm calling people out, because I'm not. It's human nature, right? I work all day in the trades. The last thing I want to do is come home and work in the trades, right? It's kind of a commonly known thing in our industry that if you want to look at what furnace filters are the worst furnace filters out in the marketplace, it's going to be in the gas guy's home, right? We don't go home and change the filters in our furnace. We should. We recognize and understand the need for it and why it has to be done so often, but we don't. But that's the cobbler's children, right? They're the ones that run around barefoot. Mm-hmm. It's why auto mechanics cars are always some of the worst operating vehicles on the road. It's because they do it all day. The last thing I want to do when they get home is deal with it. And I recognize and understand that emotion. I recognize and understand that that's how people feel. So when they get home at the end of a long workday, even though they may not be in the trades, they're going to get home and they're going to look at something in their house that they know they have to do.
Yeah.
We don't want to.
There's a reason why everybody has a sock bin at home. Those socks aren't folded for a reason.
It's the bucket of wire, it's the repairs that are sitting there. I mean, again, I recognize it. We're tired. Everybody is. That's why when I did what we did within the organization, it was about building that, hey, I understand this isn't what you want to think about. This is what we do think about, and it's what we care for.
Invest some time, not a lot, but invest some time to care for the home and invest financially. 2% a year. And I know in 2026, with everything that's transpired over the last, I'm going to call it 6 years, people say I'm more time impoverished and I'm literally more impoverished. Well, I'll tell you what, that 2% is a drop in the bucket to the 20% if you allow whatever that issue is, or you allow the unnoticed to snowball.
Yeah, like you said, it general rule of thumb in the industry is whatever the cost of the home was, or whatever the value of the home is today, you should be looking at investing 2% of that value into the home every year. Now, it's not going to be every year, right? You have a $400,000 home, you're not going to put $8,000 into the home this year. You might put $2,000. But every 15 years, you're going to have to invest $15,000 into a furnace. Every 25 years, you're going to have to put $30,000 into a roof, right? So if you are budgeting and setting aside that 2%, it's going to make your life a whole lot easier when these things do come up.
You spend $50,000 on a wedding. It's not like after that day you stop investing in the marriage. And if you do, that marriage is not going to last very long.
It doesn't last. At the end of the day, a homeowner should expect from a company consistency, so that it's not a question of, okay, what am I going to get today? Right? I'm having somebody come out, is this experience going to be different? Am I going to get the guy that cares and that really wants to focus on me, or am I going to give the guy that just, he's having a bad day and I'm going to feel it? We talk with our guys every day about making sure that we show up the same way, no matter what's going on within our life, right? And that's a hard thing to do. You've done radio a long time. You recognize that, hey, you can have a bad day last night. You could have a bad night last night. You didn't get a lot of sleep. You're having an argument with your spouse. But you show up at the station and you got to sit there and you got to go, okay, I'm going to breathe a little bit. I'm going to recognize that my life can't affect the people that are listening to me today. What's going on in our lives shouldn't affect you as a homeowner.
Yeah, at some point over the years, it feels as though those values have eroded. And I don't know where, I don't know why, I don't know how. But now, what 40 years ago seemed to be commonplace is now considered a perk, or now considered a bonus, or now considered something that we have to pay extra for. And to me, it seems as though sometimes we get so caught up in the glitz, the glamour, the flash of things that we start chasing the trucks and stop chasing the trust. And that's everything that your company is built upon.
Well, it's understandable why things have shifted that way. And it's not with everybody, by any means. But at the end of the day, there isn't a single one of us that hasn't experienced or hasn't had the feeling that life is getting faster. Right? We all recognize things are becoming more costly, more expensive. As a service provider, we're kind of stuck in the middle. I got wholesalers behind us that are every year, it's costing more, it's costing more, it's costing more. They're increasing their expense, they're increasing what they charge. But on the other side, I got homeowners that they're already feeling the pinch. And everything is about, how can you help me for less? Companies are finding ways to narrow down their overhead in order to maintain their margin, which is important. It's important that companies make money in order to survive. But it's created an opportunity. It's created an opportunity for a company like me that's willing to figure out how to continue to provide all those extras that people consider to be fluff, right? But to me, aren't fluff. That's the core of being human.
Yep.
That's the relationship that we create. So how do we allow that to happen while still having enough at the end of the day to support and keep my employees and my company survived and viable.
Well, and that's the other important thing to remember too, right? And beyond just keeping the lights on at a business, you've got a team of staff alongside you. You're responsible as a business owner, and any other entrepreneur watching will be able to speak to this, for keeping the lights on at their home.
Yep.
And that's a great deal of pressure. But it's what sets Donaldson's above the rest, is your ability to look out for your staff. I mean, you're people first, and that's what I truly respect about Donaldson Home Services, is that you look out for your customers, you look out for your team, and you look out for both like they're your own family.
Yep. It's important to me that every interaction we have, we speak about clients. And I don't know if I've ever spoken about this. In business, most people talk about customers, yourself as an example. Definition of a customer is a transaction, right? I give you something, you give me something, that's the end of the transaction. That is a customer. Nothing wrong with that. Years ago, we switched. We don't have customers within our organization, we have clients. The reason why we define as clients is because Webster's defines clients as somebody under the protection of. It comes back to the core belief of what we do. It's not just about selling you something. If I wanted to just sell you something and walk away with as much money as I possibly can, that's easy to do. That happens all the time. I want to be here for you, not just today, but tomorrow, the next day, and the next year, because that's the core belief of our company. We want to protect our clients, internal, our employees, and external, those that choose to do business with us.